Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, thank you for stopping by. It's been, like I say this every video, it's been a hot second since I've filmed. I just can't keep it together. It is Sunday evening. It's almost, nope, it's 5 o'clock. It's the first day that we've actually had a snow day. Of course, it is on a Sunday. Just fingers crossed that we will be off tomorrow. So really hoping for that. I am just sitting in my bedroom. I have literally just the ring light, my camera on a tripod. I have a hat on because I didn't want to do my hair, and honestly you can probably tell that it's not been washed. I just am chilling on my bed, and I wanted to film this video for you guys. You guys have been asking for this, and I've been wanting to film it, but like I just haven't gotten around. And it's my like trying to conceive video, my personal experience, tips and tricks that I learned along the way, and like things that I would recommend to all of you who are trying to start a family. I am almost 30 weeks. In a few days, I will be 30 weeks pregnant. And this is our first child. We're having a baby girl. And yeah, so that is kind of the background for you. I'm just gonna hop right into my tips and kind of my personal experiences and things that I feel like are beneficial to know. I'm no way a doctor, obviously. I don't want you guys to just like take what I'm saying and then just like think that's the only thing that you need to know. Obviously that's not true. Do your research, you know, talk to your doctor. And this is more of just like how my personal experience with it, and kind of what I think to be a couple of things for you to know if you are trying to start a family. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So I kind of have like 3 important, I guess, tips for you. Things that things that I think are really important to take into account and know when you are about to start a family. Now, are there so many videos out there about trying to conceive, and are they probably way better and more informative than this one? Yes. But again, this is my personal experience. So I think the first thing that you really need to know is just knowing your own body. I think this should be your very first step, and this will help with the next few things I will talk about. You need to know your own body. You need to know kind of what's going on and how your body works in order to then obviously conceive a child. I really wanted to know my own body before we really started trying to conceive. I wanted to know how my body naturally worked and was more informed on how it functioned, and how then knowing that, how that can then play into us conceiving. So I was on birth control for numerous years, and I didn't really know really honestly how my body naturally ovulated and what my normal lengths of my cycles were, because I was on a regulated time because of my birth control. I got off of birth control, and this was not like by any means just to immediately conceive. I really wanted to get my body back to its normal average, just the way it normally worked, before we even started trying. I would say it took my body anywhere from 2 to 4 months before I felt like, okay, like I think this is what my body normally does. I think it's really important to know what your average cycle length is. And that means like your period to your next period, because knowing that information is going to then help you to understand, okay, so then where do I ovulate? And then it kind of builds upon that. So I really started to do this next step. So once I really started to know, okay, my body is on its normal schedule right now, I tracked all my cycles, my symptoms, yada, 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 on an app. I am no way, shape or form sponsored by this app in particular, but I know a lot of women on here use it, love it, and I will second that because I absolutely love it. I'm actually currently using their pregnancy version of their app to track everything related to pregnancy. It is the Ovia app, the one right here. I used this for months on end. I actually just did it, so I was like, wait, when am I supposed to be getting my period? Because when you're off of birth control, you really don't know, or I don't really pay attention. So it really helped me to understand, like, it predicts, you know, the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it, is what I've learned about the Ovia app. So basically what it does is, like, you can input when you get your period, how long it lasts, symptoms that you have, and then it will, as you continue to enter in your cycles and symptoms and such, it will then start to predict it for you. And I think the more you put in as far as data goes, I think the more accurate their predictions become, is what I've personally found. I found that it would start to predict, like, when my next period was going to be, and then eventually kind of like when they thought my, like, fertile stage was, and when typically I was going to ovulate. I will say that it's not like 100% guaranteed to tell you exactly when everything is happening. I think they're pretty darn good at detecting when it most likely is going to happen. But I think the next step that I will talk about is really going to give you more accurate information. But again, I think one of the most helpful things for me was tracking everything and knowing, oh, well, my average cycle length is this. And the last time I had my period was this. Because, you know, when you do start to try to conceive, like, knowing this information is really helpful. The next step and little trick that I have for you is to purchase an ovulation kit. Now, I don't think you need to break the bank on that. There was a time period that when we did say, hey, we're gonna start this thing, we didn't use I did not use an ovulation kit. I kind of just, like, took a little bit of a, hey, I think this might be the time frame, maybe. And we tried for a few months before even trying to use an ovulation kit and kind of knowing exactly the time frame. Because I kind of just wanted to see what would naturally happen. I think eventually if I did that, it would be fine anyway, because I think the time frames that the app kind of said for me was pretty accurate to what my ovulation kit did eventually say. I think over time it would have just happened anyway, but I would say, just a little emotional tip, try to just do what feels right for you. If you feel like if you're going to use an ovulation kit and it's going to stress you out or cause you anxiety or, like, make you more anxious about this whole thing, then don't do it yet and just wait until you feel like it's necessary. At some point you do want to make sure, like, am I getting this timing right? Is maybe my ovulation is way off than what I'm thinking? Because a lot of the times it is. It's not what your typical, 14th day of your cycle. Not the case for a lot of women out there. We personally did not worry about that so much until a few months went by and I was just like, okay, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe we're not hitting the right time frame. Please just know that ultimately, whatever ends up happening and whenever you do end up conceiving, that it's completely okay. And you will be surprised, I think. One, if you do conceive right away, you're gonna be like, whoa, holy crap, like, whoa. But I think overall, I think for most people, they are kind of surprised with not that it takes a really long time, but that it does take longer than you'd think. It's not so easy. So that is something also, you're just gonna be experiencing all of emotions and you're going to be very hypersensitive about everything. So that's my piece of advice, is that if, starting to do an ovulation kit in the very beginning is too stressful for you, then don't do it. Wait until you feel like it's necessary for you to figure it out, or if you feel like you need to. Sorry, that was a really long rant, but I hope that made sense. Oh, probably didn't. Purchasing an ovulation kit. This is going to help ensure to you that you know exactly when the right time frame is, if you know what I'm saying. So I purchased off of Amazon the Easy at Home ovulation test kit, and it comes with a ton. I think it comes with like 100, no, just kidding, it says it right on the box. 50 ovulation tests and then 20 HCG tests, which is when you can see if you're pregnant or not. There are so many, and they basically are those like little test strips that you see everywhere when people post things or take things. And like, obviously I don't have any more pregnancy tests on this side, sorry. But I went a little crazy with that. These are really, really helpful. So this is what helped me to know exactly each month when the right time frame was. It really does help you to understand exactly when that sweet spot is and when your body is producing that hormone that is produced when you are ovulating or about to ovulate, sorry. Not when you are ovulating, when you are about to. There's usually a little surge, and this is what that test is testing for you. That was like someone, I guess, trying to get up our hill. It's snowing, and like I said, it's not really that safe outside right now. I found my average cycle length was like 32 to 34 days, and I typically got a positive ovulation kit or positive ovulation test between 15 and 17. Actually, more so like 15 and 18. I would fluctuate a little bit with that. So even month to month, I would ovulate on a different day. And when you do read the packet, which I highly recommend, it does give a little chart. I don't think I have it in here, unfortunately, sorry. But inside of the kit, it tells you based on what your average cycle length is. That's why it's so important to get to know your body and know your cycles. It will tell you kind of when you're supposed to start testing. And so I would suggest, based on what they tell you, maybe start a day or two before when they say. And I would take, just so you know, if you aren't aware, ovulation kits are not supposed to be done in the morning. They are supposed to be done more in the afternoon. I would always take them at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you need to at least have your pee held for like 2 hours. Because you need it to be not like diluted or anything like that. You have to have it be like, you know, concentrated. With these tests, you're always gonna have 2 lines that you're like thinking, oh my gosh, it's positive. But actually, it is only positive once your control line, or no, your test line is like, you know, it's darker than the control line. So I think those are the 3 things to me that I find to stand out the most. Just trust that your body's gonna do its thing. It does take time. Even when you do it completely perfectly, it's still like a 30-something% chance that you even conceive that month. Just know it's gonna take some time. And so don't feel too discouraged if it doesn't happen right away like you think it's going to happen in your mind. Then I did have on my Instagram, which if you don't follow me, I'll leave my little thing right here. But I asked for any questions specific to trying to conceive and anything that you guys wanted to know, just a little tidbit of information. If you follow me on my Instagram, you're going to actually see that I am around more than I am on my YouTube. It's just so hard for me to be like putting out content like every week with being a teacher and being pregnant and then throw life in there. It's just so hard for me to upload on a consistent basis. And I know that's really annoying, but that's the truth. So if you would like to see more of me, maybe follow me on my Instagram. You guys message me on there and I absolutely love it. It makes my entire day. It helps when I ask certain questions like this, like certain videos that you guys want to see, like I'll ask on my Instagram. So just, if you want to follow me, I'll be cool. You may already have a video like this, but what were your very first symptoms? If you go right to where my announcement video is, and then like that next video, it's like me, I'm like this. Actually in front of this bed, but on that side. I really go into detail of those first few weeks of being pregnant and the symptoms that I had. But I think some of the very first few symptoms I noticed was I was getting really out of breath very quickly, and I was like, what the heck? I was starting to become really clumsy. Not sure if that's a symptom, but apparently it is, I don't know. I definitely did feel crampy and bloated, and the girls were really sore, but I didn't really start to feel a ton of symptoms, the ones you think of, until I was like 7 to 8 weeks. So first few symptoms though was I was out of breath. That was like my very first one. Were you tracking ovulation? Yes, I was. I was tracking for like I would say like 8 months. I was tracking ovulation, and then a few months without tracking ovulation. How long did it take you before you conceived? It took us about like 10 months before we actually conceived. Did your skin change early on in pregnancy, like 2-week wait early? So no, not during my 2-week wait time frame. No, my skin did not change. But yes, my skin did change early on in pregnancy. It was, oh my gosh, like my skin was breaking out, super sensitive. I had to like make every type of, makeup or face product just very simple. I use like Olovino products, just very basic. And I got it was so weird. I got eczema. Now I get eczema on my hands like in the summer. The winter time, and I got eczema all over my eyelids. Super weird. How many cycles did it take to get pregnant, and were you discouraged? So it took about 10 cycles for us, so 10 months. And was I discouraged? Yeah, there were times where I was, because it felt like, I'm not kidding, it happens without fail. When you start trying to conceive, it's like everybody in the world is pregnant. Hey, I'm pregnant, we're pregnant, expected, blah, blah, blah time. And when you're not, and you're really trying to be, it is very discouraging. Try not to, but it does bring you down a little bit. But I just knew that whatever the right time frame was for us to conceive, that was what was gonna happen, and it did. So that is it for my trying to conceive video. I hope that it was somewhat helpful for you guys out there. I think there are so many resources out there and so many other women and doctors that obviously know a ton more than I do. This was just my personal experience and what I think to be important to know, and things that I found to be really helpful for me. Thank you so much for asking some questions. I will see you in my next video. Bye.